everybody, I'm Carla with Race to Walk, and this is just a continuing saga of Hack the Saga. And I, in the past, always did book reviews and Bible studies, but then I had a bunch of losers steal everything that I'd written and published, and then start hacking me to hide it. So today's little thing, I was going to give you an update about the sheriff's sale, but then the latest little happening is that they hacked. I'm at the Salem Library. Like literally, there's like people. There's always somebody around that is hacking my laptop when I'm here, or a device. So anyway, somehow they managed to. They're screwing with my iPad, so I couldn't log into Restream, which I was streaming on. And so anyway, I'm doing this as a guest. But yeah, I'm just used to going around like little losers that have nothing better to do with their life. Anyway, so what happened today? So if you haven't followed this is what happened. So the 21st, there were two properties that were supposed to be auctioned off at a sheriff's sale on at the Marion County Courthouse. Get there, I'm recording, and literally this little twit comes and sit. I'll have to show her pictures sometime. She follows me around Salem. Beginning to think that the whole little surveillance, stalking, creepiness is like a family industry. So anyway, she sits down by me, and then I think she's the person that was actually impersonating Victoria, that had been impersonating me, right? Yeah, karma. So anyway, she goes up to the steps, goes and talks to the women that are from the sheriff's office. I don't know what she says, and then they say, "Oh, well, the attorney just decided to called about an hour ago, and he's postponing him." And so one of them in Staten was postponed for an hour, and then the second one, which was I don't know, on Zillow, it says it's $1 million property. On the documents for the minimum bid, it says it's $2 million. So that's super like sketch right there. That might be part of the mystery. So anyway, it was postponed to Monday, July 28th at 10 a.m., right? So I've been just sharing details that I found on that first property. The first property was a completely fraudulent sale. It was the mortgages it was sold on had been satisfied like back in 2007, and the second one they basically duplicated in an assignment. They assigned it to two at the same time, basically doubling the loan, and then I don't know what you call it other than it's fraud. But anyway, on the second one, they basically were foreclosing on it. I also think it drove the owner that they were doing this to his death. I mean, when they started all the foreclosures, you also see in his probate in 2022, you also see a string of ambulance rides begin in 2018 that continued up until his death in 2022, because that was one of the charges against the estate. So anyway, huge big old mess, a bunch of fraud, and then what I found was just last week was that there was there's Stones Throw property in Salem that owns 64 acres behind this Fern Ridge Road property, which my guess is that they want it for access. I don't know that, but that's what I suspect. But the whole thing is fraudulent from beginning to end. The way that just the notifications, just the thing in the foreclosure itself. I mean, it was just a bunch of things that were wrong and errors and fraudulent. Just in that, even apart from the fact that the loan, it looks to me like the loan's fraudulent. So anyway, so that was that one. The 28th, I go back, and they literally they were they 2 blocks within the Marion County Courthouse, and my Google Pixel phone just dies. It won't even start. I have to walk literally 2 blocks away. So it was like something location tagged, targeted for that particular phone because my other phones, weren't a problem. So anyway, there was that. So I go back again, and this morning I published a 3-minute clip of the beginning of the sale of L11 because that second property, when it was sold on the fraudulent basis, it was just postponed an hour, and somebody bought. I had it, and they basically went back in a corner, and were doing the bidding, and the bidders were hiding behind the column. So anyway, so I have a 3-minute clip of that on my YouTube channel. That was this morning. So I'm just like, what are they gonna do? I'm just gonna go show up again. I mean, I'm just out on the courtyard, and so I just sit there and I walk up, and it's kind of interesting because, on High Street there were like police cars, and there was like stuff blocked off. I was like, what the heck is going on with this? And then I go to I just go sit down, and there's a guy. I'm like, is that a sheriff? Like somebody from the sheriff's office? No, it was security. So he had security out there. And then when it comes to 10, it's just one woman that comes out. I said, oh, is this postponed again? She's like, yeah. And she just read the thing. And then it's like, and then the security guy goes back in. And I'm thinking, what? Okay, this is the third time I've been there. They've never had a security person out there. And so I'm thinking, is there like, what were they afraid of? I mean, because here's the thing. If I'm publicizing the sale, theoretically, that's marketing, right? The more bidders, the better, isn't it? And so are they afraid that like people are going to be there, or what? Am I intimidating? What the heck? So anyway, so that was this morning. And then I was like, what is the deal with this? So I said, well, so it's just postponed again, but it's not on the website. She said, so long and short of it is, I'm not going to get into the whole dialogue. There's 2 websites. There's one of them, which is the one that's published in the public notice, which is OregonSheriffSales.org. Okay, so if you look at that, it has all of, they post it. I looked at the ORS code. They post it. The sheriff's office or department will post it on that site, which is their association, and then they also publish it in a paper where in the county the property is located. Well, last week both properties, the one in Staten and the one that's still being delayed in Turner, were removed from the Oregon Sheriff's Sales website. And I said, well, it's not on there. And she's like, well, it's on our site. I said, so it's a second site. And it is. So there's like their Marion County Sheriff's site. And I said, well, how would somebody know? So you can see, if you go to OregonSheriffSales.org, you can see that there's, under Marion County, there's nothing. And she's like, well, they would get it on our website. Well, here's the dilemma. So first of all, it's really not that clear that there is a link, but this is the Marion County Sheriff's Department website. So you can't just go to a page and see the listing. That's what it's like if you go to the Oregon Sheriff's site. It just shows all the listings in that county that are coming up for sale. This, you have to know the case number or something else, or the site address. So she said that it's just automatically deleted after 28 days. Well, according to the statute, it has to be published a minimum of 28 days, that they just remove it like a classified. That doesn't really seem right to me, because listen to this. So anyway, so you go to Marion County property site, you have to look it up. And then, so I looked it up, it's on Conaway Drive. And I don't know if you can see this, but it does bring the details. But do you see that there's a link down there that says, for more details, like the bidding, details about the property, the state of the title and all that. It says go to that property listing on the Oregon Sheriff's Sales site, which has been deleted. So all this has is some details about the sale itself. The property details are supposed to be in that Oregon Sheriff's site, which those listings, again, have been deleted for that particular site. This is like when I had asked her a couple times before, it's like, well, the posting sale wasn't, the postponement wasn't updated. This is what they're talking about when they're talking about the site updates every hour, but that's not the one that's published in the paper, right? So that's a little confusing. And so anyway, so I have not gotten into this one on Conaway Drive just because, just looking up all the sketchiness on the property in Staten, that has taken a lot of time, and I actually do have other things to do. So anyway, but just looking at this, this is what stands out to me. Do you see the number on there? I don't know if you can tell, but it's a case number from 2017, which seems a little eerily similar to the other property that sold in 2020, or that's filing started in 2020. So it was this 5-year long process, which makes me wonder if similar things going on. Then the other thing that I noticed, because on this, the attorneys that are hounding and harassing, because they don't just do it and go, they like delay, they all of this stuff, and they can't be bothered. This was on Staten. They can't be bothered to come down to Marion County. So then it was just this whole long thing, which to me, I think that's part of the manipulation. Just, having a bunch of things to have to respond to that you can't even keep track of what's going on. That's the way the assignments were on that bogus junk second. It was literally assignment after assignment after assignment after assignment. You literally have to like pin it up on the wall to be able to, and then verify it to see, even if it were a valid loan, to see who actually had control over it. It's manipulation. It was on purpose. So the other thing is that attorney for the property on Staten, he was in their office was in Washington, but they were licensed in Oregon. This is the same thing with this property on Conaway Drive, licensed in Oregon, office in Washington. I guarantee you that cross state lines, that is intentional and part of the whole manipulation. There's probably something that makes it harder for authorities, jurisdiction, right? Where do they go with this? How can they really be effective about investigating the fraud when it basically takes it to a federal level, right? Local officials agencies aren't going to be able to, that's going to be a block, I'm assuming. So anyway, so there's that. And then I go and I look, and this is something that's really interesting to me. I just happened to just do a search for the attorneys on the attorney's phone number. And, for addresses, a lot of times it's not unusual to have a bunch of different businesses come up for the same address, right? Same office building, whatever. This is the same phone number for multiple businesses, which I thought was very, very weird. You can look that up if you want. But anyway, so that was today. I just thought it was kind of funny that they had a security officer there. I don't know what they were expecting. Like a big stampede of people. I don't know. I don't know. I will say that I did send some information to some news stations, so maybe they caught wind of that, because the criminal syndicate that's involved in this has been hacking on my stuff, so I'm sure that they knew what I was doing. And then the losers tried to block me from being able to stream today because I can't log in on my iPad into Restream. So anyway, whatever. They still haven't got a clue. They should just pack up their ball and go home, because, yeah. Anyway, so, oh, shoot. Darn it. Okay, this is like totally different because I'm sorry. I had that up there the whole time. Um, I I'm as I'm recording it, I'm doing it as a guest. So it's like completely different than how I normally do it. And then I'm moving things on my laptop again because yeah. So anyway, just another note. I did this like totally like caused a bunch of manifestation when I published this. Like when I did this, the live stream itself for this propaganda and government corruption, literally hacked it on my website or on my laptop. Uh, the amount of times that file's been corrupted for the manuscript file, I had to do it over and over and over again. And this is the one, these are stream notes for the live stream that I have where I talked about my uh, my devotional hashtag no fear that was plagiarized and turned into some blasphemous devotional giving glory to state agencies like the FBI, CIA. I mean, literally turning verses to them and publish a new version. Yeah. So anyway, I do have a video on my site, but if you want literally the notes to go along with it, I publish this as a workbook and then on my website, effusionmediamg.com. I do have packages like you can buy both of them and save on too. So anyway, if you want to get that, that's just one aspect. And that would be enough. Like that would be enough out of everything just dealing with that issue. But it's literally every single day, new losers. I mean, I can't remember what I was asking a question about, but I was asking a question about to this chap, this AI model about security and, government requirements and things. And I mentioned that in one of my responses, that I was pretty sure that they had like some sort of um, like Slack channel for creeps, like, oh hey, go and like today, I'm sure that somebody said, oh, she's at the library. Somebody go and a hacker, and we'll give you like X amount. It's happened multiple times. I'm sure that's what it is. And he said, "Oh yeah, that's actually criminals. That's a known thing that criminals do." So yeah. So for all of you that are in that little conspiracy of creeps, then congratulations! What a life accomplishment. Anyway, if you couldn't tell, that was sarcasm. But I gotta run. I have some things to do this afternoon, but that is the update. That was the update. They had a security officer out there for her to go and announce it had been postponed again until April 12th. I mean, it's this is a little bit ludicrous. I mean, I certainly hope that somebody looks into that Conaway Drive, and because the fact that it's just been kicked out, kicked out, kicked out, kicked out. I mean, it could be that they're in negotiations, but quite frankly, based on the other, I have a feeling that it's just the entire thing is a sketch. Oh, and if anybody watches this that is in Kaiser, just FYI, tomorrow, that there's a city council meeting, and remember a couple months ago when there was a big uproar about when the city council was going to try to pass an exemption or something to be able to have another gas station up at Kaiser Station? Well, they're running up the flag on that again. So if you had got the Kaiser Times, read the public notice, yeah, that's tomorrow, August 6th. So if you protested it last time, you might want to do it again this time. So just, and the other thing too is I'd find out who was pushing that and who is the council member that keeps putting it in and start putting pressure on them, because they're just going to keep trying to pass it and wear people out. So you got to put a little more pressure and say, we do not want this. And we're going to vote your butt out if you put this up one more time. So anyway, just my advice. But you all have a great day, and I will see you next time.